Hey guys, what's going on? So in today's video, I just wanted to real quick do a video on this new drop, this pre-order that I just noticed Viberg released yesterday. And yes, I already hopped on it. I hopped on it actually after I released my other video about my top Viberg picks, just going over all of my favorite current offerings that they have. And I have had my radar on this brown oiled Shinki Horsebutt a lot recently. I have one pair of Renav Goods boots in standard brown oiled Shinki Horsebutt, and I actually just put in another order through Renav for some engineers in this same leather. And the engineers are going to be plain toe, 8 inches tall. But anyways, when I saw Viberg release these, I said, wow, this is such a unique model. And I just know that Viberg gets like really good cuts because they're Viberg, and they seem to really be able to procure really good cuts of the different hides. And so I decided, what the heck, I think I have my Viberg sizing figured out now anyways. So I ordered these in an 8D. Normally I go a half size down in most US boot brands. I think 8 is my correct size, just because my 2020s were a little bit too long. My 2020s in natural shell cordovan were just a little bit too long in an 8.5, and I really agree with Division Road's assessment on their size guide, which I will link in the description below, that yeah, just treat Viberg like a UK size. I think that's the way to go. My 2030s and an 8.5 are long, but that's, you know, Brett Viberg describes that the 2030 as an overall fit last. And what I take from that is that, yeah, it's just going to fit a lot of foot types. So even though it's a half size large, I've been walking in them for, oh, I don't know, since 2015, and I don't have any complaints. My feet don't flop around. I just wear thick socks with them. But for the purposes of this boot, I went with an 8D. So a full size down from Brannick, and I'm fairly certain I'm going to be happy with the fit. And one of the really cool things about Shinki Horsebutt is you can see this honeycombing type pattern in the grain that is 100% natural. That is not a stamp or an embroidery or an embossing or anything like that. I assume that this particular boot was made using all the best cuts, because on my brown Shinki horsehide, I do have some of this honeycombing, like on the quarter here, on the quarter panel, but on the rest of the boot it's kind of smooth. So I'm not going to be overly disappointed if my boots don't come out 100% honeycombed like this one. But Viberg, if you're listening, please make my boot as honeycombed as you can. Because wow, just look at that. It's such a dark, rich espresso brown color. Believe it or not, as many brown boots as I have, I don't have anything like this with the perforated cap toe, and just the character of this brown Shinki, dark brown Shinki horsehide. I'm really happy to have 2 pair on the way and just 2 different builds all together. Yeah, the Renav Goods dark brown oiled Shinki Horsebutt are going to be really good too. I mean, they just really, just look at this on the toe here. I mean, the way that they cut and put this particular pair together is just so good. Like, these boots better wind up in a museum. They better not end up being worn, because these are this particular pair is like a unicorn. It'll never happen again. I mean, if I get a pair that looks like this, I'm going to be stoked. I'm not necessarily expecting it, but so this is going to be on the 2040 last, which I've never experienced before. But another reason why I jumped on was because I really like this rounded out toe on the 2040. I like the almond shaped toe of the 2030, but the 2040 really looks like it'll agree with my foot type. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go 2020 again. 2020 is just too narrow. It's just not for me. I think if you have a low volume foot, it's probably perfect, but I have a higher volume foot, larger instep, and I fill out, you know, an Alden Berry and an Alden True Balance and a Truman 79. I fill it out, you know, so I think in respect to that, I'm going to like this last. And I realized recently I need to sort of have more knowledge about the different Viberg lasts, just because I get a lot of questions, and all I really feel comfortable talking about is the 2030. So I'll feel good if I get another last under my belt. So the service boot is our most iconic product that dates back to 1931. This version is an 8-eyelet ankle boot. Every element of a Viberg product has been carefully sourced, considered, and designed. We focus on using the highest quality natural materials from small tanneries that share a similar philosophy to Viberg. Shinki Haikaku was established in 1951 and, like Viberg, is a family-run business. As the only tannery in the world devoted exclusively to horse leather, their typical tanning process involves drying and aging stages that take up to 4 months and produce a unique texture and grain. Our February pre-order features our stitch-down service boot made up in oiled horsebutt from Shinki. The unique character and finish of this signature leather from Shinki cannot be replicated by any other tannery. That is true. I've collected a lot of horsebutt over the years from Italian tanneries, and yeah, I think mostly from Italian tanneries, and I can say that, it's good, but it's nothing like Shinki. Shinki's hard to get. This model is in Shinki dark brown oiled horsebutt. On the 2040 last, Shinki horsebutt from Japan, tan kip lining, dark brown binding, antique brass eyelets, brogued cap toe, which I really like, antique midsole, ridgeway brown sole, stitch down construction. Expected delivery, July 2022. I'll read a little about the service boot here. Our most iconic silhouette dates back to the 1930s when Ed Viberg created it as a work boot for agriculture. Ed's original pattern closely resembled the standard issue military boot common to many Allied countries during World War II. We have since reworked the original pattern to find the perfect balance on the foot. The service boot can be made in endless variations, making it one of the most versatile boots you can wear. The boot sits at ankle height, allowing it to be worn formal or casual. The classic silhouette is traditionally made with our stitch-down construction featuring double row forefront stitching. The service boot name comes from the definition of a service, action, or work that is produced, then traded, bought, or sold, then finally consumed. The service boot is a representation of the modern-day workwear uniform, and it can be worn by anyone. To complement this video, I kind of wanted to look at this Heddles article. I wrote an article about the Shinki horsebutt, which I found to be quite a good read, and I think that this Shinki horsebutt here, this brown, is actually currently, nobody has it right now. It's on back order, I think. It's hard to stock. It seems to be a popular leather. Now the order from the Viberg pre-order is a darker brown, which seems to be more available, and then this is black. But one thing that I'll say is I believe that this leather is 100% vegetable tanned, and I wore my Renav goods in the rain, and I did get some water drops, some water spots on them. So, which means that basically as moisture hits them, the pigments seem to shift around and to concentrate. So water seems to have an effect on the shifting of the pigments. They've been rained on a few times, and that effect seems to have evened out, but the first time was a very light rain, and everywhere where a water spot sort of absorbed it, it sort of darkened up and concentrated the pigments in certain spots. And so for that reason, if you're super paranoid about these, like, just wear them in nice weather, wear them to the mall. Don't don't go crazy. But then again, they can always be restored with some, probably some Saphir is what I'd use. I mean, Saphir will darken it up, but for those in the know, Shinki horsehide will elicit a rapturous reaction. For anyone else, read on for an explanation. World-famous bootmaker Viberg is already well regarded for its exceptional construction and design, but occasionally it ups the ante even further with a super high-end leather. In this case, they're using a horsebutt from one of the world's most beloved tanneries, Shinki. The oiled horsebutt and black horsebutt leathers in question are their first non-shell cordovan pre-orders, but for good reason. The tanning process takes a full 10 months, and the resulting leather is phenomenal. The classic silhouette of these service boots is finished off with tonal stitching, speed hooks, and a ridgeway sole. Because of world events, it will be some time before these brogue toe-capped beauties are finished, but they'll absolutely be worth the 6-month wait. They'll arrive in the hopefully post-COVID world when we're all finally free. Well, I love the Heddles website, but that was a horrible prediction because we're still not back to normal, and it's. But they're right about everything else. These are absolutely phenomenal boots, absolutely phenomenal leather. Shinki is notoriously hard to get your hands on from a maker's perspective. Okay, so here's the Shinki's website, and cool. These guys look like they know what they're doing. Many kind of horsehide, which refers to the leather on the horse's back from the loin area to the rump, is characterized by its lightweight and suppleness. It is also characterized by the fact that it can take on many different looks. Pigmented finishing can be used to produce a more uniform surface, and it can be additionally finished with milling to produce a more expressive look with the unique grain of horsehide. For each look, the thickness of the leather is adjusted according to the design and application, and the amount of grease, chemicals, and paint applied to the surface are also carefully considered. Horsehide can be given various looks through processing such as tanning and finishing. It can be used for garments, bags, small leather goods, and shoes. The weight and lightness of the leather can be adjusted by changing its thickness and suppleness, allowing horsehide to be made into products that retain its characteristics. Tan and tanned horsehides, after careful tanning with tannins in a pit for the right amount of time, are then finished with chemicals judiciously selected for the desired toning effect, resulting in horsehides with the perfect finish. As aging progresses, tanned leather becomes increasingly glossy and vintage looking. Oh, so they also do chrome tan horsehide, which we tan with time-proven technology in a drum, are characterized by their light weight and suppleness. Making the most of these characteristics, they are often used for bags and clothing. Horsehide has been widely used for a long time for the lining of high-quality shoes because of its suppleness and water absorbency. It looks like you'd have to just send an inquiry to them. Okay, Shinki Haikaku, a tannery that specializes in horse leather, was founded in 1951. We produce cordovan and horsehide from raw hides imported from Europe through our own integrated production processes from tanning to finishing. The surface of cordovan has such a high shine that it has been described as the diamond of leathers, and its unique texture fascinates people. However, it takes an incomparable amount of time and delicate skill on the part of each craftsman to achieve this luster. Horsehide refers to the hide of the horse. One of two typical tanning methods can be employed to tan the hide: vegetable tanning and chrome tanning. Each method makes the most of the potential of horsehide in terms of suppleness, lightness, and aging. Our horsehides, which could be called byproducts of life, are transported from Europe by sea, and we bring them to life again with the passion to produce the best quality horsehides using the latest equipment and technical skills that have been handed down and perfected over the years. It is safe to say that our company, as it stands today, is built on this history. Anyways, I will leave a link to this pre-order in the description of this video if you guys are interested in joining me on this pre-order, because I think this is a pretty stellar, this is probably my favorite Viberg pre-order in a Shinki horsebutt so far, in a Shinki oiled horsebutt so far. They've done a lot of other killer iterations, but this one I think is my favorite. I mean, with that rounded toe, this rounded toe just gets me here on the 2040. And for sizing, they recommend sizing the same as the 2030. In fact, let me read a little bit about okay, so the 2040 is based on a Munson style last to accommodate a wide range of foot shapes and be anatomically correct. Slightly less dramatic than the 2045, the 2040 features a double E width in the forefoot with above average profile, a very slight bump toe, yet a moderate waist and a narrow heel. Designed to accommodate almost all foot types, the 2040 is a great option for those who prefer a true heritage boot shape, have wider feet, or are not well suited for the 2030. As a general rule, the 2040 is usually similar in sizing as the 2030 last. Alright, yeah, so anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Thanks for tagging along on my Viberg shopping spree. And anyway, stay tuned because I have a lot more boot videos coming up, but you can follow me on Instagram. My username is AeroSurferLV. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see y'all in my next video.